All right, everybody, welcome. Welcome. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of chilling. We've been chilling a little bit. I'm a little hungry, and I got some food. I got some drinks. I'll be locked in. On this session today. I have a taco. I'm about to murder this thing. Also, I've been watching a hell lot of Resident Evil lore videos, and I'm like hooked. So we're gonna be watching some Resident Evil lore videos on the side.
Resident Evil is a series renowned for its deadly viruses and feral monstrosities. But Las Plagas wasn't as infectious as the viruses we've seen in Umbrella's history. So, how did it spread so quickly and bring down an entire empire? How did it seemingly overtake and destroy a whole village and island in such a short amount of time? Unlike the viruses, the Plagas excelled at one thing, and it did this far better than most of Umbrella's viruses ever could. It was something that ultimately destroyed itself trying to achieve. Las Plagas predates Umbrella and the Resident Evil saga, with its origins offering critical insights into its potential. Parasitic arthropods reproduce sexually, with eggs expelled from hosts and consumed by other creatures to continue their life cycle. Originating in West Africa, desiccated plaga remains were found in the ancient Endipaya kingdom, preserved for millennia in low-oxygen environments. This region also yielded the flower that Umbrella used to create their progenitor virus. The plagas eventually spread to Spain, likely brought by traders, where they thrived in the mountainous region of Valdelobos. Over time, the parasite was deified, inspiring rituals and human sacrifices, as seen in the ancient cave paintings. During the 15th century reign of Pisa, the cult of Los Illuminados emerged in Valdelobos, blending
Oh my God.
led by prophet Adam Sadler. They expanded their influence through rituals like meditation. Alarmed by their growing power, a crusade led by Gregorio Salazar, who crushed the cult and sealed the plagas beneath Valdelobos. To ensure containment, Salazar built a fortress, later known as Salazar Castle, above the caves. Though the cult was destroyed, remnants secretly preserved Adam Sadler's teachings. Legends speak of mutated creatures like Galago, sealed alongside the plagas, but these horrors would remain dormant for centuries. By the late 20th century, the Salazar family's influence had diminished. Ramon Salazar, frail and insecure, inherited the title of Salazar as a child. Mocked by villagers who revered his ancestor, Gregorio Salazar, Ramon grew up isolated and burdened by his family's legacy. This vulnerability
Oh my God, that dude looks fucked up.
Sadler, a descendant of Adam Sadler and a master manipulator.
Adam Sandler.
Blending ancient plaga worship with advanced bioweapons research, convinced Ramon that suppressing the plagas had cursed his family. Seeking redemption, Ramon reopened the sealed caves, releasing dormant plaga spores that infected miners and revived the parasites. Implanted with a dominant plaga, Ramon became a central figure in the cult, overseeing the transformation of the region as villagers were turned into ganados, mind-controlled servants of Los Illuminados. Even respected figures like village chief Vitores Mendez fell under Sadler's sway, spreading awareness under the guise of religious cleansing. With the cult restored, Sadler began laying the groundwork for global domination. This is where Leon Scott Kennedy, now a highly trained special agent,
Leon the
was sent to
fucking
retrieve
goat
his
Kennedy.
daughter, Ashley Graham. Upon reaching the village, he found it a mere shadow of its former self. The villagers, completely under Sadler's control, were reduced to mindless puppets, their once thriving community now dilapidated. Infected residents lacked the mental acuity to care for themselves, their livestock, or their crops, leading to famine and worsening an already dire situation. The castle offered no reprieve. Overrun by fanatical cultists, blindly loyal to Ramon Salazar, it became a stronghold for Sadler's twisted ambitions. Leon and Ashley had to fight their way through the castle and the island, the latter serving as the grim culmination of Sadler's plans. The island stood as a haunting symbol of unrealized potential, where makeshift and semi-refined experiments hinted at what the plagas could have achieved with proper resources and direction.
Oh, fumble.
Although Leon was now a trained and capable agent, this time was different. Worse? Not exactly. The Plaga didn't operate like the bioweapons he had encountered in the past. Both the Plaga and viruses like the T-virus were derived from nature, but their methods and evolution diverged sharply. The T-virus, a hallmark of Umbrella's biotechnology, was the result of years of refinement by countless researchers. Yet, it failed at the one critical aspect that defined the entire project: control. Tyrants, Umbrella's crowning achievement, required relentless trial and error, with only a handful functioning as intended, due to the strict biological compatibility needed for success. In contrast, Las Plagas had a natural hive mind system that resolved control issues from the start. With dominant and submissive Plagas, it allowed near total obedience among infected organisms. But despite this advantage, its potential remained largely untapped. Unlike the T-virus, developed in sophisticated labs, the Plaga was weaponized with makeshift resources on a remote island, leading to crude yet terrifying creations. Luis Serra, one of Sadler's top researchers, eventually turned against the cult after witnessing the horrors wrought by these reckless experiments. His defection showed the stark difference between the calculated refinement of Umbrella's bioweapons and the chaotic desperation behind the Plaga's use. Just like the T-virus could cause massive mutations, the Plagas were equally capable of grotesque transformations. However, as evident
I wonder which virus is overall stronger.
Of untapped potential that remained unexplored.
I'm overall say the Las Plagas.
Which turned humans into mindless zombies. The Plagas allowed their hosts to retain a certain level of intelligence while significantly enhancing their strength and durability. This difference made them far more dangerous than typical infected zombies. Beyond this,
yeah, that makes sense.
Mutations induced by the Plagas raise intriguing questions about just how powerful the parasite could be.
It's fucking
or at least
strong.
what potential it held.
Oh, hell no.
During his mission, Leon encountered a range of creations stemming from Plaga infection. Some were crude, makeshift experiments born of desperation.
Oh, I think I read the wrong way.
Others were the result of limited research conducted with the sparse resources available. Then there were those creations that defied explanation, grotesque hybrids that seemed to violate the very laws of nature, their existence a testament to the Plaga's untapped and terrifying possibilities.
The regenerators.
These abominations underlined both the ingenuity and recklessness behind the cult's use of the parasite. Although these makeshift experiments were byproducts of semi-successful bioweapons, they demonstrated the untapped potential of the Plaga to enhance human hosts over time. One of the first such creations Leon encountered was Dr. Salvador, a supposedly ordinary quemado who became exceptionally strong. His incredible strength and resilience were likely the result of prolonged infection, allowing the parasite to fully integrate with and enhance his body. His head, concealed by a sac, suggested the parasite had been growing inside him for so long that it burst through his skull, with the sac shielding the exposed Plaga from sunlight and keeping his head intact. Salvador's ability to return from the dead multiple times further demonstrated how extended exposure to the Plaga drastically improved durability, raising questions about how much stronger humans could become if infected for extended periods. This showcased the horrifying potential of the parasite if given time to refine and develop within a host.
The fuck?
Other abominations.
I look over to the other screen, I'm like, that's not Resident Evil.
And the Vistadors, both showcasing the extreme yet tragic potential of the Plaga. El Gigante had especially horrific origins. The village children injected with parasites died as their bodies couldn't handle the mutations. However, a few infants survived, their rapid growth transforming them into colossal behemoths within just over a year. These massive creatures were feral and uncontrollable, rampaging through the village and consuming most of its dwindling food supply, exacerbating the famine. Lacking the refinement of more engineered bioweapons, they were kept dormant through cult incantations, which influenced the to excavate more parasites from the mines, a grim testament to how the parasite's controlling potential was exploited for labor. The Novistadors, developed by Isidro Uriarte Talavera, were equally grotesque. A fanatical biologist and one of Sadler's most trusted researchers, Isidro pushed the boundaries of Plaga manipulation, blending human and insect DNA to align closer to the parasite's divine potential. The first generation of Novistadors resulted from impregnating a human virgin with Plaga-infused black liquid, producing monstrous offspring that metamorphosed into massive, insect-like creatures. Devoid of all human traits, they possessed razor-sharp talons, acid-spewing maws, wings for flight.
Oh, Leon, you just got right there.
Making them terrifying and highly efficient makeshift weapons. Both El Gigante and Novistadors highlight the recklessness of these experiments, as well as the horrifying potential of the Plaga when manipulated for monstrous ends. The Vertigos were among the most successful Plaga creations,
Verdugo, the
showcasing
Verdugo.
coordination and immense destructive potential.
My God, the Verdugo were
drawing from
fucking
his
crazy.
fascination with arthropod biology, aimed to merge human intelligence with the resilience and agility of insects. His transformation into a Verdugo reflected his ambition to create the perfect human form. With a durable exoskeleton, razor-sharp reflexes, heightened senses, and incredible speed.
I shat myself when the Verdugo showed up.
What made the Vertigos truly remarkable was their intelligence. This retained his strategic mind post-transformation, making them more than brute enforcers. They were precise and calculated in their actions. The second Vertigo, another of Isidro's creations, had the potential to evolve into the U3, a monstrous hybrid of human, animal, and Plaga DNA. Though its bizarre morphology hinted at limitations in resources and equipment, its ferocity and power made it a terrifying weapon, showcasing the terrifying extent of Isidro's research. This combination of raw power, refined design, and strategic capacity showcased how formidable the Plagas could become when utilized with expertise and precision. Jack Krauser was another notable result of the Plagas experiments, showcasing the parasite's ability to enhance strength and adaptability.
Jack Krauser, huh?
Dominant Plaga, Krauser maintained full control over his abilities, allowing him to wield his mutations with precision and strategic intent. His arm could transform into deadly weapons, significantly increasing his combat capabilities while retaining his intelligence, discipline, and combat skills. Krauser's transformation was a testament to the Plaga's capacity to create powerful, controlled soldiers, even with limited resources. Although not as refined as Albert Wesker, whose enhancements came from years of cutting-edge research, Krauser's abilities highlighted how the Plagas could produce...
Wesker versus Krauser. Wesker would fold Krauser's little nutsack in half.
Speed and precision marked him as one of the cult's most effective assets, illustrating the untapped potential of the parasite. And then there were creations that seemed like they shouldn't exist. Grotesque bioweapons, born of sheer desperation.
Wonder why the regenerators with spikes happen.
These twisted humanoid creatures.
Most of them are like not spiky. And then there's a couple spiky ones.
Engineered with multiple Plagas inside their bodies, they boasted a hyperactive metabolism that allowed them to regenerate lost body parts with unnerving speed. Their grotesque, fractured skeletal structure gave them an unnatural reach, enabling movements that defied human capability. Yet,
oh fuck me.
Their lack of coordination and awkward movements made them clumsy, and their accelerated metabolism, if unchecked by the Plagas, caused them to overheat and self-destruct. In rare cases, some evolved into Iron Maidens, a deadlier form capable of regenerating past critical stages and becoming more aggressive. The closest comparison to their regenerative capabilities lies with the G-Virus, which also allowed for rapid regeneration and grotesque mutations. However, unlike the regenerators, the G-Virus often spiraled out of control, mutating its host into unrecognizable monstrosities. Even so, the regenerators demonstrated a horrifying efficiency.
Uh-oh. Run, Chris! These advancements is an entirely different discussion worthy of its own deep dive. The Plaga showcased remarkable capacity for mutation, which remained untapped. One of the most striking examples was Delago, a salamander that, after being infused with the Plaga, grew to immense proportions. That was a salamander?
Neptune, the T-virus
Jesus
infected
fuck.
shark. However, What truly set the Plaga apart was its obedient relationship between the dominant Plaga and the submissive Plaga, allowing for controlled and coordinated behavior, a feature the T-virus could never achieve. But did that make the Plaga a bigger threat than the T-virus? The T-virus was a mutagen virus capable of reviving dead cells while mutating organisms to survive in harsh conditions. Its danger didn't lie solely in the monsters it created, but in its incredible infectiousness. It could spread throughout an entire city within days, traveling through air, water, and physical contact.
Yeah, that one was pretty
taking over
insane.
a person's body within hours, or even minutes in some cases. In contrast, Las Plagas was not inherently contagious. It had to be injected or ingested. Airborne transmission was rare, only observed when spores from excavated Plaga remains infected the miners. After infection, the Plaga took hours to days to establish control, unlike the rapid progression of the T-virus. When it came to eradicating
you already know.
the T-virus,
I might have to turn on the
challenge.
thing for the
Without a
hold on.
specifically developed cure, infection was essentially a death sentence, with the only way to stop it being the destruction of the brain or body. By contrast, the Plaga was sensitive to
Boom,
UV
noise
light and
suppression.
weakest during the day. Infected hosts could potentially be cured if the parasite was destroyed with UV radiation before it matured into its adult stage. This made the Plaga more vulnerable to treatment compared to the near unstoppable nature of the T-virus.
Guess that makes sense.
The most important factor in creating a bioweapon is its combat effectiveness and ability to cause destruction. The Plagas had a significant advantage in their ability to retain cognitive function in infected hosts and allow nearly all Plaga-infected organisms to be controlled by the dominant Plaga host. By contrast, only a few engineered T-virus experiments, such as hunters and tyrants, could follow programming and instructions. While the Plagas produced creatures capable of immense destruction, many of these were beyond control. Those that achieved a balance between combat effectiveness and obedience were rare, but the Verdugo stood as an extraordinary success. Combining speed, agility, resilience, and strategic precision, they rivaled some of the best tyrants in combat efficiency. Umbrella saw greater consistency with its tyrants, which were not only destructive, but also precise in following commands. However, tyrants had notable flaws. While they could heal from most conventional damage, excessive damage often caused them to mutate into uncontrollable forms. For instance, Nemesis, after sustaining significant damage, spiraled out of control to the point where it required a railgun to incapacitate it and a nuclear strike to fully eliminate its cellular activity. In contrast, the Plaga's regenerative marvels, such as the Regenerators, excelled in their ability to instantly regrow massive amounts of tissue. Though lacking refinement, this rapid regeneration was a step beyond anything Umbrella achieved with its T-virus experiment. The T-virus did produce one creation with resilience comparable to the Regenerators, Lisa Trevor. She was one of the few individuals with the genetic prerequisites to bond with the progenitor virus, granting her superhuman capabilities, including exceptional regenerative abilities. Despite numerous attempts by Umbrella to dispose of her, Lisa survived for days, her body defying all efforts to destroy it. Unlike
Oh my
the
God!
Regenerators, Lisa survived and didn't rely on external organisms. Her resilience was entirely self-sustained. Remarkably, her immune system was so advanced that it destroyed the NE alpha parasite, the same thing as Nemesis, further emphasizing her body's unique capacity.
Oh, I kind of want to hear what it said right there.
This might lead you to believe that the T-virus was more dangerous, and in terms of being a pandemic-level threat, it's entire cities within days and spread through air, water, and physical contact, making it parallel in its scale of devastation. However, as a bioweapon, its more sophisticated creations like tyrants, extremely rare, require research, resources, and biological compatibility.
There we go.
Unique advantage. Its ability to perform absolute obedience, maintain host intelligence, and maintain a high and controllability. That Umbrella often struggled to achieve.
Gotta
even
kill the
with
babies.
advanced experiments.
Kill the babies.
Being online is a vast universe.
No, it's not.
This made the Plagas not just a tool of destruction, but a calculated weapon capable
Oh, there's a
of
what the fuck?
deployment. The real danger of Las Plagas and the T-virus never solely in its makeup, but in the human ambition to control and exploit them. Las Plagas' hive mind structure made it uniquely suited for manipulation, allowing a single dominant
I know, I saw
parasite
another
to
baby.
control entire populations, a feat the T-virus could never achieve.
Ah, there.
This ability made it immensely
Get him.
powerful, not necessarily
I saw another
because
one.
they were biologically stronger than the T-virus, but because they could be harnessed with precision. While the T-virus required vast resources and decades of research
Boom.
to produce
Baby
even a
eliminated.
handful of obedient bioweapons,
Like, that's it.
Plaga's natural design offered ready-made tools for control and conquest. The potential to wield such an organism as a controllable weapon hinted at the power it could unleash if refined further. This question of power and control is also a moral one, as seen in the contrasting paths of Sadler, Salazar, and Luis Serra. Sadler and Salazar epitomized the misuse of power, exploiting the Plagas for their ambitions while ignoring the consequences. Luis Serra, on the other hand, represented the other side of this equation, a man who recognized the
That dude was
responsibility
sick.
tied to such power and sought to correct his mistakes. His redemption serves as a reminder that true power lies not in domination, but in making the right choices. The story of Las Plagas is one of contrasts between freedom and control, morality and exploitation.
Oh, I didn't get the...
Potential
Oh.
versus restraint. The parasite's capacity to enforce absolute obedience raises
Shouldn't have eaten
the
that.
haunting question. Was it truly that powerful? The answer lies not just in its biological capabilities, but in the human hands that sought to wield it. And as we reflect on those choices, we are reminded of the weight of responsibility that comes with any form of power, urging us to use it wisely.
Where's that cutscene of Wesker from? I don't remember that.
Ever realize it makes you wonder, what might have happened if they were given decades to thrive, or worse, if the two ever crossed paths? But perhaps it's better if we never find out. That's a discussion
I'm
for
done.
another time.
I'll take it.
Umbrella was more than just a company. It was the manifestation of one man's ideology. An ideology obsessed with
Where is that
drastic
cutscene?
change that, no matter how noble it may have sounded, was always going to be forced, unnatural, and catastrophic. But what was Umbrella doing in a village that existed hundreds of years before the company was ever founded? Well, technically, this wasn't Umbrella. This was the thing that inspired it. If this is where Umbrella's story really began, could it have turned out different? Or was the real disaster the one that came after Spencer left this place behind? What was Umbrella's connection to this remote Eastern European village, the place where the Mycete was found? A living unit that could store memories, reshape biology, and even bring back the dead. A bioweapon that didn't just infect the body, it rewrote the body. Why didn't Umbrella ever use the Mega Mycete? To the outside world, the Umbrella Corporation was just a pharmaceutical giant, researching cures, producing medicine, and helping humanity. But behind the scenes, Umbrella was something else entirely. A global operation built to create, refine, and sell bioorganic weapons, living tools of war, auctioned off to the highest bidder. And even that wasn't its true purpose.
Too loud. I mean,
Umbrella existed because of one man's vision, Oswald E. Spencer. Spencer wasn't just a scientist, he was a British aristocrat, a virologist, and a eugenicist obsessed with forcing humanity to evolve.
oh,
Raised in wealth and schooled in philosophy and survivalism, he was shaped by the chaos of the Second World War. But what really changed him were the stories, tales of explorers who spoke of ancient powers in Africa, power that could turn humans into gods. His search led him to West Africa, where he rare flower that stairway to the sun, a plant that carried a virus that cells and mutating life in unnatural ways. He named it the progenitor virus, and in it, he saw the key to everything, a new human race, shaped by science and ruled by him. To study it, he co-founded Umbrella in the 1960s alongside Edward Ashford and Dr. James Marcus. On the surface, it was just a pharmaceutical company, but in reality, it was the start of a secret empire, one built on viral research and biological warfare. Soon, Umbrella began developing a new strain, an artificial virus derived from Dementia, designed to infect, mutate, and control. But long before that, Spencer had already encountered something else, and he chose to leave it behind. Deep in the mountains of Europe, there was a village built on legend. The people of this village believed in the Black God, a divine being said to live beneath the earth. It was both revered and feared, seen as the source of miracles and the cause of curses. According to folklore, the village dated back to ancient times, founded by 4 great leaders whose symbols would live on for centuries. Their heraldic crests, a flower and swords, a sun and moon, a mermaid and a stallion, later inspired the 4 houses, Dimitrescu, Heisenberg, Muro, and Beneviento. A mysterious catastrophe wiped out the original inhabitants, but a new village was built over its ruins. By the 15th century, the 4 houses had become its noble rulers, and together their emblems formed an octagonal symbol that resembled a 4-winged cross, a symbol that would become very familiar later on. In the aftermath of the First World War, a new religion took shape around the Black God. To the villagers, it was sacred, but in truth, it was something far more terrifying. The Megamycete, a colossal fungal organism buried beneath the land. It wasn't divine, it was biological, a sentient mold that absorbed DNA and consciousness, forming a hive mind of humans and mutating the very environment around it. Among the villagers was a woman named Miranda, a brilliant biologist and a deeply respected member of the community. In 1909, she gave birth to her only daughter, Eva, and for a while, that life was peaceful. But in 1919, the Spanish flu swept through the region. The outbreak devastated the village. Graves filled, fields became cemeteries, and Eva, just 10 years old, was among the dead. Consumed by grief, Miranda disappeared into the mountains to end her life. But instead of death, she found something far worse, or perhaps far greater. A dark living mass pulsing with unnatural energy.
Are you awake?
Black Desert. I didn't really like Black Desert.
The mold infected her, but
Tried it
instead of
out.
killing her,
Try.
it transformed her. She gained regeneration, shape-shifting, unnatural life, and most disturbingly, a psychic link to the minds absorbed by the mold. Among them, she felt something she couldn't ignore. Eva. That moment twisted her grief into obsession. If the mold could preserve her consciousness, she believed it could also bring her back. Not just a memory, but Eva reborn in the flesh, and so began her mission, one that would stretch across the next 100 years. In the early 1950s, long before Umbrella ever existed, a young medical student from Britain found himself half dead on a snowy mountain in Eastern Europe. This man was none other than Oswald E. Spencer, and the woman who saved him was Mother Miranda. Spencer didn't just stumble into a quiet mountain village, he stepped into Miranda's world, a place in time ruled by something ancient. She treated his wounds, offered him shelter, and over time shared her greatest discovery, and the terrifying potential it held to reshape life itself. For Spencer, it was more than just science, it was destiny. He became fixated on the idea of guiding human evolution. But unlike Miranda, he didn't want to bring back just one person. He wanted to rewrite the entire species. The mold intrigued him, but it wasn't enough. He slowly started to notice that it couldn't really spread fast, it couldn't be controlled as easily, and it wasn't something you could release on a global exponential scale. And slowly, through long nights of quiet debate, Spencer realized something. Their visions didn't really align. Miranda wanted to revive her daughter. Spencer wanted to become a god. Eventually, he vanished without a word, and 15 years later, Miranda found his letter, written with admiration and formality. In it, Spencer thanked her for the inspiration, for everything she had taught him. He told her he had discovered a new virus in Africa, a virus he called Progenitor, and with it, he planned to create a company devoted entirely to its study, a company he would name Umbrella, inspired by the crest of the 4 houses. And so, while the world would come to blame Umbrella for everything that followed, the truth is, it all started here, in a quiet village, in a conversation between a grieving woman and a man who worshipped God. After Spencer left, Miranda continued her work alone, deeper into the mold and deeper into her obsession. She withdrew from the village, and when she returned, she was something else entirely, colder, stronger, untouchable. She spoke of a black god beneath the earth, a force that had chosen her, and strangely the villagers believed her. They witnessed strange miracles, the sick recovered, and slowly the old religion faded. In its place, they worshipped not through laws or armies, but through fear, devotion, and honor. But beneath the rituals and robes, Miranda wasn't building a fort, she was building a lab, because the villagers weren't followers, they were test subjects. The mold alone wasn't enough, it was too unstable, too unpredictable. So Miranda created something new, a parasitic organism called Kadu, created
Oh
from
my
nematodes
God.
exposed to the mold. The Kadu looked almost like a miniature version of the megamycete itself. Miranda's goal was to use them to create a stable host for her daughter Eva's consciousness. But most test subjects either died or mutated into lichens. The parasite assimilated a host's DNA and could even absorb traits from other organisms, altering the host's biology in strange hybridized ways. Implantation was risky and often fatal. Those who survived often became unstable mutations, but a rare few developed incredible powers, and over time, 8 subjects were recorded to have lived. 4 of them would become the most well-known. The first was Alcina Demetresque, a towering noblewoman descended from one of the old houses. The Kadu gave her near immortality, but also a monstrous hunger for blood. Miranda gave her control of the castle and the land surrounding it. The villagers feared her, and for good reason. Then there was Donna Beneviento, a grieving doll-maker shattered by the loss of her family. The Kadu allowed her to split control between her body and a second Kadu implanted in her doll, Angie. It also mutated the garden plants around her estate, allowing her to release hallucinogenic minerals pollen that much reminded of. The third was Salvatore Moro, a frail, disfigured man from the reservoir. The Kadu warped him into an aquatic mutant. He could vomit acid, reshape his flesh, and survive underwater. He was broken, but blindly loyal. He saw Miranda as a mother. And finally, Karl Heisenberg, intelligent, rebellious, dangerous. The Kadu gave him dominion over metal,
That
and he used
guy,
it to turn an abandoned factory
that
into a
dude
nightmarish
could have
affliction
been
with
so
its
much
soldiers
more
from
with
corpses
that
to
power,
scrap.
magnetism. That
But unlike the others,
dude should have taken
Heisenberg
over
saw
everything.
Miranda for what she truly was, and he hated her for it. These 4 became the lords of the village, not by choice, but because they were.
That would have been awesome if at some point you start absorbing people's stuff as Ethan, because he is mold.
Miranda, they were just failures. Spencer had seen the mold with his own eyes. He knew exactly what it was capable of, mutating flesh, preserving memory, even granting a twisted kind of immortality. But when he left the village, he didn't walk away because he doubted its power. He walked away because it didn't fit his vision. Miranda was trying to bring back one person. Spencer wanted to reshape the entire human race. In the letter he left her, he said it outright. Your experiments on the mold would not have aided me in my endeavor to achieve an exponential infection.
Ouch.
I thought a virus would be more effective. That was the key difference. The mold wasn't predictable or scalable, it was too unstable, too unique to every host. It took time to take hold, adapted in strange and inconsistent ways, and couldn't be mass-produced or deployed the way a virus could. And Spencer didn't want something that relied on faith or memory or miracles. He wanted something he could control completely. To him, the mold wasn't a tool, it was Miranda's obsession, and that was reason enough to leave it there.
Oh, nuts.
So he turned his back on her, on the megamycete, and on everything they had discovered. In its place, he would create something new, something he could mold to his own will. But that leads to the bigger question. Did Spencer walk away from a dead end? Or thing that could change everything.
Almost killed me.
Not long after leaving the village, Spencer found exactly what he was looking for, buried in the ruins of an ancient garden deep in the heart of West Africa. There, growing among the ruins, was a rare flower known as the Stairway to the Sun, and inside it lived a virus that Spencer would name the progenitor virus. Not just any virus, but something ancient, possibly millions of years old. It was unlike anything modern science had ever seen, an RNA-based virus capable of but what truly set it apart was what it could do. It could repair dead cells, reverse cell decay, and even revive life that had already ended. It didn't just infect, it rewrote life on a cellular level. In rare cases, it granted survivors incredible abilities, enhanced strength, extended lifespan, even heightened intelligence. The ancient Nedebaya tribe, who once worshipped the flowers, saw it as divine, a gift from gods. And for those few who could survive its brutal effects, it may as well have been. Spencer didn't see divinity, he saw potential. With the help of Edward Ashford and Dr. James Marcus, Spencer isolated the virus in 1966. But the virus was too dangerous, too volatile. Almost no one could survive exposure. So the team began engineering it and manipulating its genome, refining it in secret. Their solution came in the form of a synthetic strain, an artificial virus designed not for miracles, but for control.
Don't raise dragons right off the bat. For new players, at the start of the game, don't rush to...
That was the birth of the T virus, and with it, the beginning of Umbrella. It was building bioweapons, conducting illegal experiments, and working towards a single hidden goal, Spencer's dream of forced evolution. He didn't want to save the world, he wanted to reshape it, erase weaknesses, rewrite biology, and create a superior race loyal to his vision. The T-Virus was just step one, a tool that could be sold to the highest bidder, mass-produced, and used to fund the real project, a global eugenics experiment known as the Wesker Project. Spencer handpicked a group of genetically gifted children from across the globe. He raised them in secret, trained them like assets, and prepared them to be infected with refined viral strains. Most of them didn't survive, some did, but only one became what Spencer had hoped for. Albert Wesker, a cold, calculating prototype of what Spencer imagined the future of mankind could be, and ironically, the man who would one day bring them
Shit.
military contracts, global influence,
Oh,
the T-Virus
shit.
turned into a manipulating machine, and the world had no idea. But the truth doesn't stay buried forever. It started with the Arklay Mansion and training facility incidents, failed experiments hidden in the mountains. A special forces team was sent to investigate and torn apart by Umbrella's own creations. Then came Raccoon City, a full-scale outbreak. The virus spread like wildfire. Within a week, the entire city was drowning in chaos, people turning into monsters, the streets soaked in blood. The government had no choice but to destroy the city to contain it. There was no hiding after that. Umbrella tried to erase the evidence, but there was truth in the corpses, in the labs, in the people who managed to survive. As it struck by these labs, so did the country. By 2003, Umbrella was bankrupt, with abandoned labs, fractured leadership, and a reputation beyond repair. And Spencer, the man who wanted to become a god, vanished. He became a fugitive, hiding alone in his crumbling estate, surrounded by half-finished experiments and fading dreams. He ordered the deaths of his own executives, trying to protect whatever secrets he had left. And in the end, he was killed, not by a hero, not by justice, but by Albert Wesker, the only success of the very program Spencer created. After decades of planning, billions in funding, and countless lives lost, Spencer's vision of evolution didn't end in triumph. It ended the way most human disasters do, with arrogance, betrayal, and fire. But what if Spencer had made a different choice? What if he hadn't walked away from the village, from the Megamycete? Would the mold have been more effective at creating a superior human race? Spencer wanted global exponential change. Miranda, by comparison, spent decades experimenting just to create a handful of semi-successful subjects, and most of those were unstable, incomplete, or outright failures. It took her years to even control a single village. Meanwhile, the virus's umbrella engineered spread faster than anyone could imagine. Raccoon City fell in just a week. Ironically, that was the one part of Spencer's vision that did work, just not in the way he intended. Sure, the Megamycete produced powerful beings, Miranda, Heisenberg, and eventually Rose Winters, arguably one of the most powerful entities in the Resident Evil universe. But even then, Rose wasn't a product of Miranda's experiments. She was born by chance, the child of two mold-infected parents. And even before Rose, Miranda had already tried working with outside organizations like the Connections, helping them develop a mold-based bioweapon named Evelyn, the infamous E001.
Evelyn.
But Evelyn degraded rapidly, failed as a vessel, and proved once again that even with advanced technology and global resources, the mold still couldn't be tamed. The virus, on the other
It's
hand,
weird that
gave
that
rise
old
to
lady
beings
was
like
actually
Albert
Evelyn
Wesker
that whole
and
time.
Alexia Ashford, refined, intelligent, dangerously evolved. While mole-based mutations varied widely, Umbrella's viral creations, when successful, were consistent, scalable, and increasingly efficient. Even the Four Lords were scattered across a spectrum. Heisenberg was formidable, but Moreau, while technically a success, was barely functional, mentally unstable, and biologically flawed. Spencer may have seen all of this. He may have understood that the
Mad
mold was
that we
powerful,
killed
but
Heisenberg.
hard to get right. It wasn't something he could keep refining to fit his goals and reach perfection. It
Was that his
something
name?
Miranda had
Was that like his actual name?
made, but more successful, were consistent, scalable, and increasingly efficient. Even the Four Lords were scattered across a spectrum. Heisenberg was formidable, but Moreau, while technically a success, was barely functional, mentally unstable, and biologically flawed. Spencer may have seen all of this. He may have understood that the mold was powerful, but hard to get right. It wasn't something he could keep refining to fit his goals and reach perfection. It was something Miranda had always aimed. And maybe that was the real reason he walked away. Because to embrace the Megamycete would have meant building his empire on someone else's legacy.
Oh, what am I doing?
The Wesker children were entrusted with endless potential. Of them, only one survived. You.
Are you saying I was manufactured?
Yes.
I was to become a god. Creating a new world with an advanced race of human beings. However, all was lost with Raccoon City. Despite
I
that,
honestly don't think Wesker killed him right there because I don't think he killed him right there because he was mad that he was made. I mean, clearly Wesker had no problem modifying his body and doing whatever the fuck. He didn't. I don't think that dude cared about being a natural born human. I feel like he killed him when he was like, all was lost. Basically, this dude doesn't see Wesker as anything anymore. I feel like that right there is what made him kill him. Because I bet you if he started glazing Wesker right there, Wesker would have let him live. I bet you. Yes.
will hold great significance. Now my candle burns dimly. Ironic, isn't it? For one who has the right to be a god. To face his own mortality.
The right to be a god.
For Spencer, it was never just about science. It was about ownership and control. He had seen what the mold could do. He called Miranda's research visionary. He knew it could resurrect the dead, preserve memories, even create something close to immortality, and still he walked away. Because no matter how powerful it wasn't his. Spencer didn't want to replace the human race, he wanted to evolve it, to reshape what already existed without erasing what made people human. When the mold takes over a person, it rewrites the body. They don't stay human, they become mold. It didn't enhance life, it consumed it, overwriting it and turning people into something else entirely. And for a man who saw himself as a god, the idea of being consumed by another organism, of losing his identity, his will, was the one thing he could never accept. Because to him, the mold wasn't a tool for evolution, it was a threat to it.
And then Ethan blows it all up. That was so real. What game is this? A top tier survival horror game? You lost me.
There are so many
You lost
chilling
me.
enemies within the Resident Evil series, and Resident Evil 4 is no exception. The enemies of this game
I don't need the
hold many
game to tell me
secrets
it's
behind
top
the truth of
tier,
their origins.
you know?
So here is the disturbing lore of every Resident Evil 4 enemy.
The village.
The Los Illuminados was a religious cult from the village of Valdelobos that believes that the parasite known as Las Plagas is a holy creature given to humanity by God, and upon infection from the plaga, the cult's members are believed to be purified of their sinful blood, and their souls will be saved. Los Illuminados would be worshipped for centuries, where the cult would practice many beliefs from Roman Catholicism, while also performing sacrificial ceremonies among other twisted acts. As many years went by, a ruler by the name of Gregorio Salazar eventually entered the region, with the goal of restoring Catholicism as the dominant religion of Valdelobos. Leading a troop into the area, they began slaughtering followers of the Los Illuminados, with some being tied up and executed, while others being burnt at the stake. When the
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! I was like, damn, they really attacked from out there and... Oh.
That the Los Illuminados worshipped would then be sealed away in an ancient complex in the caves beneath his castle, erasing all existence of the twisted cult that is Los Illuminados. Following Gregorio Salazar's eventual death, his descendants would maintain his mission.
Oh, no fucking way I just did that.
Until the 21st century, where his descendant Ramon Salazar would be leading at the time. It was during this time when a mysterious man by the name of Osman Sadler would enter the region, with the goal of restoring dominance of Los Illuminados.
Nice.
Taking advantage of his young and isolated state, Ramon Salazar was approached by Sadler, who provided him with insight into Los Illuminados. Salazar was ultimately tricked into as ruler of the region, this ideal was quickly forced on everyone in the area. Allowed Sadler to gain full control, where the end began to end to world domination. The Ganados were once a group of human villagers that had abandoned much of modern technology to protect their culture and maintain a more peaceful and simpler life. They would frequently attend church services, which would be led by the village leader Chief Mendez, who would preach to the community about their Catholic practices. Sadler would eventually enter the region and trick Salazar into reviving Los Illuminados by recruiting many villagers from the area to begin excavation of the mines beneath the castle to dig up Las Plagas. As work began, the villagers would become exposed to Plaga spores.
Is she upstairs?
Sorry, Rebecca.
Causing the workers to become extremely sick. It wasn't long after when the spores in their bodies regenerated into fully formed Plaga bodies, which tragically turned them into crazed Ganados. This small group of Ganados were quickly captured by Sadler and his team, where they then began brutal experimentation to create a large number of Plaga eggs for the purpose of spreading the virus to the entire region. Not long after this, Sadler entered a small village to attend church services. Here, he began to preach to the congregation about fantastic stories, which persuaded them to join Los Illuminados and take part in the blood cleansing ritual, claiming that injection from his virus will purify their sinful blood and save their souls. At first, it was only a small portion of the community he had convinced to be injected, but soon after, this small group began forcing their own family members to take part in the ritual to save them. After the entire village finished their conversion ritual, they were then told the Los Illuminados version of their folktale from the first Castilian, Gregorio Salazar. In their version, the first Castellan was envious of the cultists' righteousness and persecuted them. Ramon Salazar, the current 8th Castellan, is reinterpreted as a redeemed man, having freed the cultists. The villagers became disturbed by this story, as it proves to them that they have been lied to for centuries. In the time after their conversion, villagers began to feel ill, with symptoms of heavy coughing and seizures becoming prevalent in the community. In one account, a family was having dinner when their daughter became stricken at the table and had a seizure. Her body contorted as her limbs shook violently, and ultimately died right there. With their brains altered from the infection, the parents just stood there and felt more emotions as they watched their daughter pass. Shortly after this, there became many accounts of villagers suffering from violent headaches, which felt as if their heads were being split open. Their blood became hot as well, with so much pressure that some began to bleed out and vomit. Over the next few days, every child in the village had passed away, as their bodies were unable to handle exposure to Las Plagas. The adults soon after became emotionally emptied and mindless, finally succumbing
Oh, I got no
to
saves.
the virus. Father Mendez, in his capacity as village chief, issues a notice to the villagers to keep outsiders away from the village in order to protect the Prophet Sadler's life, which became interpreted as an order to kill strangers. Following the storming of the region by Leon and Ada, the Ganados faced several losses, including that of all dominant Plaga hosts. Ganados exhibit a number of behavioral and biological traits that differ from uninfected humans. The physical appearance of the creature appears to depend on the strength of the individual Plaga parasite.
Our old lady's hairline is
Parasite
up
appears
there.
to fill the eyes of the victim with blood, or otherwise interact with the victim's eyes in a manner that causes them to undergo intense strain. Under low light conditions, the Ganado exhibits a condition where the eyes glow fiercely. Ganado appears
You're a bit of a mess up.
While there is a lack of evidence for a strict age requirement for infection,
Did Wesker just fall off? What the fuck? Oh shit, that could have ruined me right there.
As an effect of their parasitization, Ganado bodies become more durable and powerful, and their pain threshold.
I didn't bring the thing.
These enhancements allow hosts to easily lift other people and withstand gunshots without response. If a Ganado receives too much damage, however, the Plaga may cause irreparable bodily damage by ripping open their neck to personally defend itself from attackers. Some Ganados are known to become stronger and more durable than others, arming themselves with heavy chainsaws as a more powerful weapon. Dr. Salvador is a burly chainsaw-wielding villager with a burlap sack over his head, while wearing typical farmer clothing in addition. He can be detected by the sound of a chainsaw ripping nearby. Due to his size, sack mask, and unique weapon, he is very easy to tell apart from regular villagers. Once a respected doctor among the villagers, he was corrupted by the Las Plagas parasite, turning him into a merciless executioner to those who oppose the cult's will.
Oop.
Dr. Salvador retains much of his design in the remake, albeit his blood-curdling eyes are more visible due to the holes of his potato sack being larger in comparison. He had more bloodstains on his clothes, presumably from previous fights / mutation, and has a noticeably slimmer physique.
Yo, what's up, Luna?
Due to the
I've been chilling.
the Chainsaw Man has become exceptionally violent and is compelled to relentlessly chase his enemies with his trademark chainsaw. Also, due to the Plaga's assimilation, he has been made exceptionally robust in comparison to regular villagers and can absorb small arms fire with ease. This robustness is further accentuated by his resistance to knockdown from melee attacks, often being staggered back instead of falling to the ground.
Luna, I gotta say, just because yesterday somebody came in and was a bot and had a name hella close to you. Are you an art? Are you like one of those artists? Oh, when he saves? Nice. I think from here we could pretty much just beat the game. Oh, I forget. Dude, I was literally looking at that ship thing too.
Like Dr. Salvador, the Pella sisters cover their face with bandages to conceal their identity. Originating from the same village under Los Illuminados, the Bella sisters were once ordinary villagers whose lives were drastically changed after being exposed to Sadler's virus. The parasite gave the sisters enhanced physical attributes compared to regular Ganado, having heightened aggression and being able to endure gunfire with ease. Diamante were first produced from human and test subjects during Sadler's experimentation upon the parasite.
Alright, you light him up.
Which caused the
Bumble.
height of a normal human. Alongside this growing height was a tremendous display of strength.
Aww.
A reduction in intelligence, as well as their
Oh,
Though
shit.
they proved to be exceptional at difficult to control only a small number of Elegante, spreading them around the region. A log from one of the villagers better shows the evolution of the creature and the struggles they faced in containment. 6 months. Its teeth have only just come through, but it shoves everything within reach into its mouth. It can't walk yet. 9 months. It already towers over me, but it keeps growing.
Did I just pop that grape?
13 months. It can swing
Oh,
its
yeah.
pickaxe as if it were a twig. One man in the village was almost eaten today too. It's not getting enough food. 17 months. There are only a few cows left now. At this rate, the whole village will starve. We summoned help from the castle and had them put the beast to sleep with meditation. Hopefully, it won't wake for a long time. The El Gigante by far has some of the most disturbing origins in the entire franchise. With Sadler's use of infant children experimentation, just goes to show you the twisted lengths he would go to meet his goals.
Oh.
During one of the earlier Plaga experiments by Los Luminados, Del Lago was a salamander that became host to the Plaga parasite. The organism reacted to its small host by mutating it, increasing its size considerably. More than 20 meters in length, Del Lago created an immense jaw with several rows of teeth, and from its throat, many Plaga tentacles emerged when it swam in an attack pattern. Capable of devouring animals,
Oh, I
it was a
think I
shrill
fumbled it.
leviathan
Oopsies.
residing in the lake near the village's church. It possessed no discernible eyes, but its speed was deceptively fast in water and could react to any motion within the lake nearly instantly. Due to improper scaling of its size in comparison to an ordinary salamander, Del Lago's legs became unproportionate to its body, and it was no longer capable of using them to walk. Ultimately, this salamander was sealed away in the village lake because the cult was unable to control its behavior via the Plaga. It was fed by the disposal of corpses, as seen by Leon as a pair of ganados dumped a police officer's corpse into the lake. Leon first learned of the creature near the church, where a letter notified the ganado that the creature had been awoken by Prophet Sadler to guard the lake. While Leon was crossing the lake, the Del Lago got hooked onto the boat's anchor, which then dragged the boat across the lake. After bombarding the beast with nearly a dozen harpoons, the Del Lago began spewing blood in copious quantities. Ultimately succumbing to its injuries, the creature sank to the bottom of the lake, ridding the village of one of its deadliest creatures. Dogs which have become host to parasites and turn feral. As a result of the infection, the teeth have been replaced with larger teeth that dig deep into their victim's skin as they bite. Comillos can be identified in the night by their highly reflective eyes seen from afar. The spine of Comillos suffer from deformities as a result of the parasite's growth in the abdomen.
So does that mean this one's gonna become a crimson head? Because the other body disappeared.
To inflict serious injury by tearing open the skin so its bladed tentacles.
Oh, right, wrong way.
As dogs are natural pack animals, they are known to adapt to the infection much easier than humans. When hunting prey, the Comillos tend to attack in groups, with one going while another flanks them. The Torres Mendez was a Catholic priest who ran a church in Valdelobos and was chief of the local village. He was responsible for teaching literacy and mathematics to the children of the village during the day, while dining with the family at night to hear their recent stories of illnesses and gossip. Sometime after the Mendez who sought to exploit shifted to Saturday's laws, becoming
disgusting.
And asked the villagers to visit the chapel when the harvest festival was over. There, Sadler manipulated the villagers into joining his cause by having them convert to his twisted cult. For Mendez's service, he was given a newly engineered dominant species plague, which allowed him full control over his body, as well as the ability to mutate if needed. Following the successful conversion and infection of the villagers, Mendez was given control of his lieutenant. In 2004, Sadler's American mole abducted Ashley Graham in a plot to infiltrate and convert the United States government to Los Luminados. This operation coincided with the escape of Dr. Louis Serra, a lead bioweapons researcher who had betrayed Sadler and stole the dominant Plaga egg that they intended to infect the U.S. president with. The village chief garnered suspicions that this was part of a planned extraction operation involving a third party, and Dr. Serra was eventually kidnapped by the villagers for investigation. Meanwhile, Mendez was forced to coordinate his forces against the third party's agents, Ada Wong and Leon Kennedy. Although Leon managed to find and free Luis, Mendez cornered them both immediately afterward and captured them. However, Leon soon escaped and passed through the village chief's house, where he was then met by Mendez himself. He attempted to strangle the agent, but relented when Leon's eyes turned red in color, indicating that he had been infected with a Plaga egg. Ada Wong, who had been watching the encounter from a nearby window, intervened and fired 2 bullets at Mendez. The chief then left his house to look for the intruder that shot him. Once Ada went inside and began to explore the house, she was
This game.
What even is EVE Online? What do you do in EVE Online?
quickly grabbed and thrown by Mendez, where he then began to pursue her through the village. Before the chief managed to reach her, Ada used her grapple gun to get on the other side of the locked door. Unable to barge through, Mendez gave up and fled the area. From there, he began to write an order to convert the area closest to the castle into a defensive position so that no intruders may pass. Many of the villagers heard the chief's call and flocked to this area, with the Bella sisters also arriving to defend a crank that's used to open the doors that lead to the castle. Leon would eventually enter this area and manage to decimate the remaining villagers along with the Bella sisters, where he would then proceed forward to the castle. The chief quickly halted the two as he decided to take matters into his own hands and stop Leon and Ashley before they could get any further. He closed off the double doors and began chasing them through the village until Leon and Ashley made it to the other side of the bridge that collapsed, causing the chief to look for another path to reach them. As Leon entered a cabin next to the castle, Menez ambushed him by breaking through a wall and knocking him to the floor. As the chief inched closer and closer to Leon, he then got hit with an explosive barrel, causing him to rotate uncontrollably into his final stage.
Jesus
A battle
Christ.
then commenced between the two in a fiery
I didn't even remember that boss fight. Kinda did, but I kinda didn't.
ending the unfortunate story. Servants and defenders of the established Los Angeles, which caused Ramon Salazar to impress these ideals and beliefs upon his Catholic servants. During baptism ceremonies welcoming them into the cult, these men were implanted with plaga eggs, which soon rendered them highly susceptible to infection and effectively became Salazar's slaves, whom he saw with disdain as lesser beings. As with other Ganado followers, the monks would alternate from performing their daily tasks to performing rituals and to taking up arms against outsiders. As slaves to Salazar's will, the monks were known to suffer from his amusement as tests and his booby traps were sent out on suicide attacks. One prevalent example of this is the spike trap, where we see dozens of cultists falling victim to this cruel punishment. Zealots are known to have worn a wide variety of clothing, which indicated their rank in the cult, robes, while a small number were outfitted with
Ouch. Oh my god. Was that like the crit for them?
These zealots were also known as translated as the Car in Spanish, a once human host that underwent physical enhancement through the use of the Plaga. Appearing as a large armored gladiator-like warrior with retractable claws grafted to each forearm, the Garrador is a dangerous and extremely aggressive enemy which has a high resistance to frontal attacks. This creature has two main weaknesses. The first is its lack of eyesight, and the second is its visibly exposed plaga erupting from its spine. The Garrador finds its prey by and will charge towards the organ, making loud noises in earshot, viciously swiping with its claws. These creatures are extremely dangerous and can kill a human in seconds if they are caught in the path of one of their rampages, with some cases shown to completely decapitate a human. Prior to the infection,
Leon.
the Garrador once served as the torturer of the castle. Even among his family, he was special. He enjoyed his work wholeheartedly and had a talent for it, at tormenting others. This ability quickly attracted Salazar's interest, where they then took the man deep into the dungeon, where they strapped him down and injected him with an enhanced version of the Plaga parasite, one that would give him exceptional strength and super heightened aggression, finishing off by equipping the creature with massive razor-sharp claws and heavy suits of armor. The creature became one of the strongest creations.
Wait a minute.
However, it wasn't long before the Garrador's aggression became too much to handle, as it began slaughtering any cultists. Because of this, the creature
I left some evilness behind by accident.
Strap him to a wall with chains and sew his eyes shut. This loss of sight heightened their other senses, including their hearing. Deadly creatures became deprived of their vision. In hopes of keeping the creature alive, Salazar would forcefully send his caretaker down to the dungeon to attend to the Garrador by feeding him and disposing of It wasn't long upon this twisted creature. As Leon was using her key to open a locked door, the floor below him collapsed, landing him face to face with the terrifying.
Oh, there was another one.
As Leon attempted to slowly flee the area, the Garrador was then able to break off the chains.
Oh my god. That has to be the critical.
stretching themselves to fit all 4 of the suit's limbs. These plagas can defend themselves while they search for new hosts. These creatures attack with medieval weapons such as claymores and halberds. The weak point of these armors are the helmets. If damaged enough, the plaga will break free of the helmet and expose itself from the neck of their armor, becoming vulnerable to gunfire and particularly flashbang grenades, which can kill an exposed plaga instantly. Additionally, some armadura may attempt to ambush their victims by staying still among other armors, waiting
Should have opened
until
that
the target
first.
approaches
Oops.
before making a single attack when in range. There are 2 varieties of the armadura, one in a lemon-colored silver armor with a brown helmet, which tends to contain a Type A plaga and wield a broadsword. The other armadura variant comes from just one single plaga. Located deep in the castle's dungeon, the gold armadura stands as a towering threat from Sadler's army. The gold armor of this creature is much more durable compared to typical silver armadura. And on top of this, the particular plaga host within the gold armadura is enhanced to be much more aggressive than the others, making this creature a very dangerous foe to encounter. The vertigos, translating to executioner in Spanish, were created by a fusion of human and insect DNA, completely controlled by a plaga, created to serve as Salazar's guards. The vertigos were first unseen, their faces hidden under long red and black cloaks that bore the Los Illuminados insignia. Their faces, however, were seen to be clearly inhuman, having shimmering red eyes and large mandibles, their hands having long, spindly fingers and an opposable thumb. Later, when one of them was sent to hunt down Leon Kennedy, it discarded its cloak to reveal a thin, insectoid body, covered in a black exoskeleton and having a long, segmented tail. As it tracked Leon, it would occasionally attack by thrusting its tail through the floor or ceiling grate. Its carapace is harder than steel, allowing it to survive gunfire and explosions. The vertigos also possess very high intelligence, the capability of restraint and violence. The vertigo is capable of sneaking and hiding before attacking its prey out of sight. Vertigo demonstrates the capacity to take orders and contains high levels of comprehension, as shown when Salazar instructed one to kill Leon and ordered the other to take Ashley Graham to the ritual. Furthermore, when Leon struck the creature with an ineffective attack, it then waggled its finger before resuming its attack, demonstrating a complex level
you're
of
back?
emotion and personality. The full history into the creation of the vertigo gets very dark, and it all started from a mad scientist by the name of Isidro, who was approached by Salazar to, quote, improve the flaws of their human form, to seek perfection as observed in their arthropodal siblings. With hopes to please his master Salazar, Isidro began forming maids within the castle to use for experimentation, where he would then inject a special strain of the plaga parasite into the maid's womb and impregnate them, as he quoted that a pure soul proves to be highly malleable and adaptive. With this experiment, Isidro was able to create a new species of plaga known as the Novistadors, which were massive bug creatures that can blend in with their surroundings. After the major success of this experiment and praise from Sadler himself, Isidro possessed the final which was pursued and fusing
nuts.
and human into one. His first test subject was the housekeeper, who graciously offered herself to volunteer. The housekeeper was vertigo number 1, where she would then serve as the Salazar. After the success of his final experiment, Isidro decided it was finally time to demonstrate his ability, injecting himself with a plaga strain. A note that Isidro left in the castle better explains his motives for transformation. Upon the release of this valve, black liquid shall and circulate throughout my body. I expect this one of the most painful experiences. The next time I awake, I, Isidro, make this vow. I will surpass the limitations of my life to become. I will find the heretics and serve them for execution. As Isidro eventually transformed into he would then proceed to watch over for Salazar. Because of this, Salazar would eventually send Isidro to hunt Leon. Once Leon turned the lever for the elevator, Isidro jumped in front of him. Leon was after much exposure to liquid nitrogen, the vertigo ultimately succumbed to his injuries and fell to the ground, ending the twisted story of his
Fuck.
U3, or Descenta, was the first member of the Remnant who volunteered herself to be part of the Seagro's experimentation, thus turning her
Wait.
into a wizard. Prior
I
to
left
her
one, I
the
think.
same staff worker
I don't know, I can get it after.
Juan Salazar displayed a cool temperament during his younger years. Wasn't traumatizing enough. He also Diego Salazar, and continued to do so even after enduring an agonizing experiment into U3, and embraced the cult's faith herself along the way. Acting as the right hand of Salazar, the virgin Luis fled the area while Ada engaged in combat with the creature, and in the process became a parasite from it. After the lengthy battle, Cassandra disappeared and begins to
Oh. is later seen back at the castle, standing beside Isidro as Salazar gives his ultimatum to Leon and Ashley before disappearing once again. He eventually returns to pursue Ada as she is gathering the ingredients for the suppressant of the Plaga. After Luis gives her a dose and it fails to go into effect, U3 once more approaches Ada and corners her. Just as it was about to find her, the suppressant's effects begin to work, and the creature is no longer able to locate her, causing it to leave the scene. After Ada goes through the underground sewers of the castle, U3 halts Ada. I've never played the Resident Evil 4
ends up being crushed by a
DLC.
large piece of a metal bridge.
I gotta check something.
Into a more grotesque
Reminds
form
me.
of itself,
Did I get it?
sprouting a tail-like Plaga. After inflicting massive damage to the creature, it began to mutate uncontrollably into a centipede-like creature, which was capable of burrowing underground to ambush its prey. After engaging in combat for one final time, U3 was ultimately killed once the Plaga was destroyed. Ada would then lie down in agony as she spits out the parasite implanted to her by Placenta, freeing her from its infection. The Vertigos in Resident Evil 4 left a huge impact
I did
on the
get it.
story with its very dark and disturbing origins, making it one of the most twisted creations in the franchise. Novistadors were a species of BOWs developed by Isidro as part of his experiment in splicing genes of human and insect to rid the flaws found in human form and to become closer to the Plaga that Los Illuminados revered in the process. The first generation of these creatures were created by impregnating a human virgin with a type of Plaga secretion referred as black liquid, which fertilized egg cells in her womb, resulting her to give birth to mutated babies that eventually underwent metamorphosis into fully adult human-sized insectoid creatures, almost deprived of human characteristics.
Oh, wait.
For melee combat, Novistadors utilize razor-sharp talons on its front limbs. They could also spit acid from their maw, which was corrosive enough to burn human flesh and muscle tissue. In addition to quickly skittering about across floors and ceilings, these creatures could fly thanks to their wings, which also provided extra boost of speed. True to their namesake, Novistadors possess the ability to camouflage by altering the pigments in their exoskeleton to blend in with the environment, remaining still until unsuspecting prey entered striking distance, at which they swiftly reveal themselves and attack. Novistadors were also shown to build and live in a hive-like structure similar to wasps, as shown in the underground cavern level. A similar structure could also be found in the castle. Ramon Salazar was the son of Diego Salazar, the 7th Castellan. Throughout his childhood, he suffered an illness in which he is not expected to live to adulthood, much to Catalina's horror, who had invited Sadler into their homes in attempt to save his life. He treated his disease by injecting species of Plaga. Soon after, Diego is mysteriously murdered, and Catalina disappears shortly after, inheriting the castle at a very young age. In his adolescent years, Ramon develops cruelty when he overhears a servant. He then dragged her to the chambers and forced her to make him a long more vitriol device, down to her skin. As the
Ouch. Oh, the two-piece. Ouch. Oh my god.
Salazar demanded Leon to hand over Ashley.
I wonder if he could just do that
Nonetheless, refusing to give
without
up,
needing to fight him.
declares that Los Luminados must have Ashley, and reveals that with her as the source, the United States and eventually the world will be overcome with the grace of Osman Sadler. When he asked the two if they would accept, Ashley firmly rebuffed it. Disappointed by this, he summons a group of Ganados before departing with his royal bodyguards. Later, as Leon traverses through the castle, Salazar calls him via wired phone and asks him if he is ready to hand over Ashley, which only annoys Leon. Later, after Ashley was captured, Salazar speaks to him on the speaker, beginning to his companion. When Leon reaches the throne room, Salazar is seen sitting as usual is prepared for Ashley. After Leon was subdued by one of the characters, Salazar orders his sons to force Ashley into drinking the black substance and urges the girl to not resist, as it would only worsen her suffering. Before the vertigo would throw Leon into a deep hole, Salazar realistically bids him farewell in Spanish. After Leon survived the trail,
Fuck. I wonder how the shooting works, because if you spam click it, it does like a burst fire, but you can't control it. Like, it's hella weird. If you click at the same time as the burst, like if you try to do the 1, 2, 3, it doesn't work. 1, 2, 3. Oh wow. 1, 2, 3. Maybe I'm just full of shit. Where am I going here? Right.
Ending the story of Ramon Salazar.
What the fuck? These, who comes up with these ads? These are so weird. Yeah, alright. Are they both? What about that other guy? Nope, he's gone.
Used to areas of the island. Due to his enhanced strength, JJ has been equipped with a minigun that he will use to stop anyone who opposes the Colt's will. Another enhanced ganado found exclusively on the island are the soldiers wielding massive hammers. As in a similar case to JJ, these creatures became infected with an enhanced strain of the plaga, giving them increased size, strength, and aggression. They have also been equipped with heavy armor for protection, going as far as to weld a piece of metal onto the creature's face. Even though there are only a few of these creatures found on the island, their increase in strength and aggression, paired with the durable armor, makes them one of the most dangerous enemies on Sadler's Island. The Regenerators were once human researchers that were forced into being implanted with multiple plaga parasites, causing their bodies to mutate radically. It all started when Sadler's research team was able to create a new superior species of plaga, where the host's cognitive functions would not be diminished. Upon creation, head researcher Annabelle Garcia had proceeded with advanced brutal experimentation anyone it found in the lab at the time, leaving 7 dead and 19 wounded. This would quickly grab Sadler's attention, seeing how powerful the creation truly is. He would begin to capture all of the researchers and imprison them. One by one, they would be taken into the lab and become forcefully subjected to their own experiments, turning every single one of them into regenerators. Some would be placed in cold storage on the island, while others would be placed in bags.
Boom. Finish the game without sipping you. Oh! Oh, I just hit my fucking elbow. Ah! Ow!
These in a way act as the
Fuck.
if a regenerator is
Ouch.
the plaga will act fast and sprout small tentacles from the wound.
Chris,
Appears to
you did a
nip
fine job.
flesh, recreating
Hell
entire
yeah.
wounds within seconds. This allows the regenerator to recover from bullet wounds, lost limbs.
Features dispatched 174. Very
Usually
nice.
slow, regenerators
Now
are
try to
capable
survive
of
with
moving
invisible
close to
enemies.
the
Invisible enemy mode
exercise
unlocked.
action and
Good
hiding,
luck.
stretching their
Oh
muscles
my
and
goodness.
moving
Hell yeah.
close.
Obtain all costumes. Who let the zombie play with a high explosive? A zombie equipped with lots of grenades is wandering the mansion. The fuck?
Also, when their
What
legs
the
are in
fuck?
way, they can move forward very quickly by slamming themselves to the ground, causing them to jump forward. This is all possible due to their bodies almost completely, if not entirely, consisting of pure muscle, manipulated by the leech-like plagas hiding in its body. The presence of a regenerator nearby
Okay,
can
what
be
else do I
instantly
need?
detected by the
Just
sound
2
of
more
low breath
achievements.
and strained breathing, adding to their already frightening demeanor.
Finish the game in real survival mode. Finish the game in invisible enemy mode. That's it. Just these last two.
The
Oh,
Iron
boy.
Maiden is shown to be an evolution of the Regenerator. When some Regenerators have had all of its Plaga parasites destroyed, they will quickly undergo a second metamorphosis in response. It will start by ripping open its stomach and begin regenerating the body to form a new Plaga on its head. Afterward, the creature will lift its upper torso back up and grow deadly spikes all over its body as a defense mechanism. The creature's skin will become pale and leathery, with areas of muscle and flesh being exposed through gaps. In response
The
to severe
regenerators.
damage, after the mutation is complete, the Iron Maiden becomes a stronger and more aggressive version of the Regenerator. It will fire its spikes at will to poke anyone within range, and will also grab and pull their victims close to its body,
Jesus
so it can activate its
Christ.
spikes and brutally attack them. Upon death, an Iron Maiden will convulse and writhe before exploding, after which its spikes will fire out toward any unfortunate individual. Plagas were a parasitic arthropod located in Valdelobos, which was used by Sadler to create an army of ganados. By latching onto the nervous system,
I
plagas
forgot if
exert
RE4 has an
influence over the
inventory
host
system.
actions, leading to increased
Actually, I
aggression
just
by
remembered it. The
hosts.
briefcase thing. I'm
Additionally, they
pretty sure it
form
does.
social groups with other infected hosts. Unless the host
Alright.
brain is destroyed or compromised,
For
the
any of
infection's
these last two
influence
modes,
is not
I'm gonna have to be
allowing
locked
them to
in.
continue their daily
So,
routines. Throughout the
goodbye
Plaga's
to the
life cycle,
videos.
It will undergo 3 stages, with the first being the Guadana stage. In this stage of their life,
Oh, oh, nuts. Coin flip. Okay. I'm not gonna do the one that it gives me. I'm so silly. Alright, let's see. Heads is real survival, and tails is invisible enemy mode. I wonder, do you get to choose the difficulty for invisible? I don't know. Okay. Heads real survival, tails invisible enemies. Real survival it is. Invisible enemy, hell yeah. Oh, you can do invisible enemy on any. Oh, fuck me, I'm not doing that one. And real survival.
Resident Evil.
New costume. See what we got. Future Chris. Red shirt. Chris red shirt. Oops. What is this one? Is this like... What is this from? Is this from the 2002 game, maybe? Seems a little too detailed for that time. I don't know. Okay, so... I think I'm gonna do another Jill run. Because hers is just easier. We'll do... whatever this one is.